Hi guys, does your C chord or any other chord you're playing sound like this? And you want it to sound like this? Well then stick around and I'll show you 5 things that you need to get right to make your chord sound nice. I'm going to split the 5 things into 2 groups. Grouping 1 will be for your fretting hand, which most of you out there will be your left hand. And then the other will be your strumming hand, which for most of you will probably be your right hand. So we'll go through 3 things that we need to get perfect in the left hand to get a nice clear sound out of all our strings. The first one is pretty straightforward, but sometimes people don't get this perfect and the note doesn't ring as clear as it could. And it's pretty straightforward, guys. So the tip of your finger is actually quite flat. For pretending that this plectrum here is a string, when we press on the string, the flesh surrounds both sides of the string, so when it's vibrating, it's trapped and therefore it can't go anywhere and it rings clearly. If the string is even slightly off to the side, you can see that this way it can't move, but this way it can move, and that just results in the string slipping away from under the finger and the note just sounding a little bit dead. So let's just compare the two. So first the bad technique. Still rings, but it's not ringing as clearly compared to this. It's a much clearer sound. The second one is we need an arch in our fingers. We need a nice curve in our fingers so they are kept away from the other strings, so that the other strings underneath, so look at this third finger here, the other strings can vibrate. If you go a little bit flat, that finger's going to catch and choke those other strings. So I'm just going to go close up here on my left hand just to show you how to get a good arch on those fingers. So looking at my fretting hand here, guys, you can see that this part here is where the fingers will start to bend and bend around the fretboard. So if I bring this hand in here and just lay it flat here and pretend that's the fretboard, if my palm is too far back, you can see that I can only lay flat across the fretboard. So if we imagine I push my hand forward, now my fingers can bend back towards that fretboard. So you get a good curve in your fingers, whereas if your hand is not pushed enough forward, you end up laying flat. So on the guitar that looks like this. So you can see that this is where my fingers would start to bend. So if that palm of your hand is too far back, you can see I can only come flat onto the guitar, whereas if I push it forward, you can get a nice curve back onto the guitar. So my hand out, I'm just pushing that part of the hand in front of the guitar, so therefore my fingers will bend back towards the fretboard. If I pull the hand back, you can see that the fingers go flat. So showing you from the side, you can see my wrist is still straight and my fingers are flat, and I just push forward and you can see I get a good curve, still with a straight wrist. Back, sounds terrible. Bringing the hand forward whilst being able to keep a straight wrist. Keeping a straight wrist is important because you're getting the strength of your hand is pushing back into the guitar as well as your fingers pushing forward. So you're squeezing the guitar from both sides. When you bend the wrist, you're not getting any pressure from the back as the wrist is power's coming up. It's not coming back into the neck. So therefore these fingers have to work way harder. You can get it to sound right, but even then there I can feel a bit of pain in my wrist. It's going to get sore pretty quickly. You're going to cause yourself injury and you're not getting yourself quicker any better. So you want to keep that wrist as straight as possible and just push it out. Just a little bonus tip here, a variation of how to play the C chord. The notes of C are C, E, and G. And then we have a C and an E. And the third fret of the first string is also a G. So you have the option of playing C with the first string open, or you can also play it with the little finger on the third fret there as well. It's a nice little thing to do when you're strumming a C chord. It gives a nice little jangle on top of the chord. And lastly, guys, this is probably the biggest one I see most people make over and over again. Even students that I've had for years continue to make this mistake, and I have to remind them to keep your finger at the front of the fret. So when you press down on the string, it actually connects with the little metal bar on the fretboard, which is called a fret. It doesn't actually connect with the wood of the guitar. So when you press down at the front of the fret, you're pressing just behind the bar, so the string is connecting with the bar, and the string rings clearly. As I move back the fret, you can hear that note starts to buzz. So keep your finger right at the front of the fret. So in summary, press on the pads of your fingers where it's flat. You want a nice curve in your finger, and you want all your fingers at the front of the fret. Now, if you're a total beginner, you may find it difficult to stretch those 3 fingers to the front of the fret. That just takes a bit of time. So I always use the example, if you're a gymnast or a dancer and you want to do the splits, no one goes in and is able to do the splits day one. You have to stretch those muscles out over time, and you can get down flat on the floor. And this is very similar to us. So don't overstretch your fingers. Don't stretch the muscles too much. Don't injure yourself. So just over time, you'll find that the stretch will develop, and just someday you'll find that, oh, all my fingers are at the front of the fret, without actually having to wear a tutu. Leave a comment below if you would like to see me wear a tutu in the next video. So getting to the last 2 points, which refer to our strumming hand, guys, we want to strum with the wrist. First of all, it's a much nicer sound. A lot of beginners will strum with their elbow, and it's just too loud and harsh a sound on the guitar. It's just too strong for the guitar. You just need to strum with your wrist. Also, you have more accuracy. A chord like C is only 5 strings. We don't want to be hitting that 6th string. You can hear, even though the note E is part of the C major chord, that low down, it just doesn't sound great with the chord of C. So we really want to avoid it and only strum 5 strings. The last point is, guys, we just want to skim over the surface of the strings. We don't want to bury our pick down into the strings because it drags and again causes a harsh sound. So if you can imagine my fingers here are the strings, we're just going to skim over the top. We don't want to be burying our pick down in the strings because it's going to drag and pull at the strings and make them snap, not in a great way. So guys, I hope those 5 tips help you out. Try them on all your chords. You'll find just a little bit of tweaking and movement. You should be able to sort it out and get all your chords to ring nice and clear like a bell. Guys, if you enjoyed that lesson today, everything I went through is covered in my book in great detail. There's also 9 hours of video lessons with this book, so I go into lots of details, lots of great camera angles to really help you dig in and find out any little problems you're having with your guitar playing. I've been teaching for over 20 years, so I know exactly all the mistakes you guys make and all the beginners make. So I'll help you avoid all those and get your guitar playing up to speed much quicker. So please visit clembuckley.com to find out more. Also, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Also, leave a comment below if there's anything you need help with. I'll do my best to help you out. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.